Chapter 2. Welcome, Wallace yelled. She looked the same as Dink remembered. Happy smile, curly brown hair, mischievous eyes. What do you think of Moose Manor? She asked. Isn't it fun? I love it, said Ruth Rose. It's awesome, Josh said. Wallace laughed. It is something, isn't it? Help me with these groceries and I'll take you on the grand tour. The entrance to the castle turned out to be a regular-sized door around the corner. Wallace and the kids carried bags of groceries into a large room. Dink saw a washer and dryer, wooden pegs for hats and coats, and a pile of sneakers and boots. This is my mudroom, Wallace said. The kitchen is through here. She shoved open another door with her hip. Dink had to tip his head back to see the high ceiling. The usual kitchen stuff was there, with a long wooden table in the middle. A black chandelier hung over the table. This place is humongous, Dink said. That's why I love it, Wallace said. Let's put the food away and I'll show you around. The kids quickly emptied the bags while Wallace put the milk and ice cream into the refrigerator. Okay, the tour begins in the royal living room, Wallace said. Follow me. She led them into the biggest living room Dink had ever seen. The first thing Dink noticed was the chandelier hanging right over his head. It was as big as Wallace's car. A marble fireplace took up almost one whole wall. The mantel was dark wood, carved with all kinds of animals. This place is amazing, Dink said. Geez, Josh breathed, peering into the fireplace. You could burn a whole tree in here. Wallace flopped onto a pile of floor cushions. Some winter days, I wish I could, she said. It gets mighty cold up on this cliff. How old is this place? Ruth Rose asked, peering up at the tall stone walls. Pretty old, Wallace said. It was built in the 1930s by a movie star named Emery Scott. Awesome, Josh said. What happened to him? Dink asked. Well, Wallace raised her eyebrows and lowered her voice. According to the town gossip, he died suddenly. Right here in the castle. In fact, sometimes I think I hear his ghost. The kids stared with open mouths. Then Dink laughed. Come on, you're just kidding, right? Why? Don't you believe in ghosts? Wallace asked with a grin. No way, they all yelled. Well, Wallace stood up. Maybe Emery will introduce himself when he's ready. In the meantime, why don't I show you your rooms? The kids grabbed their packs and followed Wallace up a wide stone staircase to the second floor. At the top of the stairs was a dim hallway with several doors. Wallace pointed to one. That's my room. Ruth Rose, yours is there, and I've put you boys together right across the hall. Wallace tapped on a narrow door at the end of the hall. This one leads up to the roof. Dink opened the door to their bedroom. Like the rooms downstairs, the ceiling was high. A blue carpet covered the stone floor. The twin beds had bright red covers. Dink went to the window and looked outside. All he could see were pine trees. Where's the ocean? He asked. On the other side, Wallace said. Why don't you settle in, then come down for lunch? Ruth Rose went to her room. Dink and Josh dumped their packs on their beds. This place is so cool, Josh said, wandering into their bathroom. Dink stacked his books on the table next to his bed. He pawed through his clothes, then changed into shorts and a t-shirt. Dink, come in here, Josh called. Dink wandered into the bathroom. Listen, Josh said. He had his ear against one of the bathroom walls. What are you doing? Asked Dink. Josh made a shushing sound. I thought I heard something. What's going on? Ruth Rose said as she came into the room. Josh thought he heard something behind the wall, Dink said. Ruth Rose grinned. It must be the ghost of Emery Scott. He's just waiting for you two to fall asleep tonight. Just then they heard Wallace's voice. Come and get it, she called. They raced down to the kitchen. Wallace was packing a basket. It's such a great day. I thought we'd have a picnic on the beach, she said. Cool, Josh said. Can we go fishing there sometime? Wallace nodded. Ask Walker if you can borrow some gear. In fact, he's taking you lobstering tomorrow. Awesome, Josh yelled. Wallace smiled. You won't think so at 4:30 tomorrow morning. Dink and Josh each grabbed one end of the picnic basket. Wallace handed Ruth Rose a blanket, then led them to the back of the castle and through another gate. Great view, isn't it? Wallace said. The first time I saw this place, I knew I had to do my writing here. Dink took a deep breath of the sea air. Small boats made colorful dots against the blue ocean. It's really nice, he said. Josh peered nervously over the cliff. How do we get down? Wallace laughed. See there? I had steps built. But poor Emery Scott. You remember that marble fireplace and that massive chandelier? Every piece came from Europe by boat. Goodness knows how he got them up this cliff. Suddenly a scream burst from the castle behind them. Dink nearly dropped his end of the picnic basket. The skin on his arms erupted into 1,000 goosebumps. Wallace glanced back and grinned. Dink, Josh, Ruth Rose, allow me to introduce the ghost of Emery Scott.